Okay everyone, this video should be a little bit quicker because all I'm doing is the beginning part where you're converting radians, degrees, and degrees of radians. I hope you watch it even though you feel pretty confident about what you're doing. Let's get started. So, how do I know that these are radians? The dead giveaway, guys, is see how they're all pies. Radians is based on ratios with pies, okay? Parts of a pie or whatever. Multiples of a pie. But anyways, how do I convert a radian measure into degrees? It's quite simple. We should know that with any conversion dealing with degrees or angles, we know there's 180 degrees in pi radians. So notice if I just simply times by that ratio 180 degrees, that's a degree right there, over pi, notice how the pi's cancel each other out. And now all I have is 180 over 6. And you could actually reduce that with your calculator, most likely, if you needed to. But I know, and you should know, that 180 divided by 6 is 90 over 3. I just divided by 2. And now I'm just going to divide by 3 and get 30 degrees. You could have reduced it other way. 6 times 30 basically is 180. Okay? Let's go with pi over 4. Again, all you need to do is you need to know that 180 degrees is the same thing as pi. So we're going to use that ratio. Pi's cancel out. That's how you know you did it right. And I have 180 over 4. Again, you could use a calculator, but if you divide that, you will get exactly 45 degrees. And finally, this number 5. Again, there's 180 degrees in pi radians, 1 pi radians. The pi's cancel out. If we times this straight across, I have negative 360 over 3. Reducing that, you should be able to just simply divide by 3 and get negative 120 degrees. Now the question you need to ask your teacher is, will he or she accept negative degrees? Okay. If not, you have to convert it by adding 360 to it to get it to 240 degrees. Basically what I did, guys, is instead of negative 120 like so, by adding the 360 with it, we now are able to go this way forwards, and that's 240 degrees. So hopefully you know all of that, especially since most of you are watching this, hopefully is in IM3 right now. Okay, pause the video if you need to. Now what about these 3 where I'm given degrees? Well, we're going to use the same ratio, just backwards. You see, I know pi is equivalent to 180 degrees. See how I flipped this over right here? Now how do I know I did it right? Because see how the degrees cancel out, and I'm left with pi. So I have here negative 45 pi over 180. Now this you got to reduce, guys. And if you could actually divide this way if you're clever, or use your calculator. If you have a regular scientific calculator, it'll reduce it for you if you type it in as a fraction. But you're going to end up with negative pi over 4, or negative 1/4 pi. Now again, is that acceptable, or do you have to put it within the positive realm? That would mean you would have to add 2 pi or 8 pi over 4 to make it 7 pi over 4. But again, please talk to your teacher quickly about this if you don't know whether or not it has to be a positive angle. Most likely your teacher will accept negative pi over 4. Okay? Finally, let's do the last 2. And I'm going to assume that negative angles are correct. If not, guys, you have to remember to add 2 pi to it. Okay? But anyways, how do I convert this one? I'm going to times by pi radians equals 180 degrees. Notice how the degrees cancel out. I therefore have negative 110 over 180. I could cancel out the zeros. Oh, don't forget the pi there. And I have negative 11 pi over 18. And finally, how about negative 50? If I times by pi over 180 degrees, the degrees cancel out. I have negative 50 pi over 180 The zeros cancel out by dividing by 10. I have negative 5 pi over 18. And I'm done. So pause the video, guys. So the only thing I would add, guys, as we discussed on these last set is, are negative angles acceptable? If not, make sure you know how to convert them to positive angles. Okay? But that's basically how you convert radians degrees or degrees to radians. See you in class.